Oh yeah, it's on. Didn't even hear the beep. Anyway, the cicadas. The sun's out again. Hopefully it'll stay this way for more than 2 hours. Yeah, it fooled me yesterday. It looked all nice and then it turned to shit. Anyway, enough of the weather report. Blah blah blah. It is my reality. I have to deal with weather, and wet feet every day. Anyway, Andy, Anticontavad. Yeah, I'm just marveling at the, the corpses, the little shells from the cicadas. When they come out, they leave their shells behind, and there's just little patches of them every now and then. And of course, when I say there's little patches of them now and then, there's no patches of them. So whatever. Here's a couple. I'll hold the camera still. See, just the shells left over. Those are the holes. But anyway, so that's where they, come out of the ground, pulled out of their grub shell, fly up to the trees and make noise. Anyway, so Anticontavad, another one of his, he likes this existential word. Like there's some problem in resolving the fact of our sort of sloppy origins. Okay, again, it's back to this origins thing, but it's really the game, right? You are what makes you. Garbage in, garbage out, and the ingredients of our origins is sort of garbage. Replication for the sake of replication in an uncontrolled manner, controlled only by natural selection anyway, and physical dynamics and luck and circumstance and all that kind of crap. It's there's just nothing to be very happy about. So he's juxtaposing these two extreme positions, the religious fairy tale, like it's all going to be okay, God's going to work it all out, the just will be justly treated, the unjust will be properly, not properly, insanely punished forever, even if they say I'm sorry, for no good reason, no logical reason. At least that's what we're led to believe, but maybe God has another plan B, which is, alright, well, if they say they're sorry, they can come to heaven. Maybe he's going to forgive them again, or something, I don't know. But who cares anyway? The whole thing is stupid. I don't like the people here now. Why the hell would I want to go to heaven and hang out with them? Shit. I think people suck. If heaven's got people in it, fuck it. I'd rather go to cat heaven. I'll go just take care of cats or something. Fuck it. But anyway. So that the position A is, it's all going to be okay because the universe knows what it's doing, whether it's God or Gaia or whatever. It knows what it's doing and it's all going to be okay. No worries. And then his position is, then his other position is mine, apparently. My attitude this is just obscene. This is a train wreck. This is train wreck cube. This is just such a horror that we've fallen into and that we are part of now. And it's just dismal. There's just nothing redeeming in all of this crap at all. It's just a fucking Freddy's nightmare all over the fucking place. And so those two positions are wrong. And that I don't know, what would be the middle position? It's horrible, but don't worry about it. It's kind of bad, maybe sort of a little bit, but, it's okay, don't worry. It all sounds to me just like the religious conclusion. It sounds like the A position without the God. You're just saying, okay, I don't have any rational reason to say everything's going to be okay, so I'll just do it irrationally. I'll just do it for the sake of it. So he's apparently comparing, the two positions he's comparing are the only two. He's basically saying the God position wins, just get rid of the God. And that's the answer. Just believe the fairy tale, believe it's all going to be okay, invest in it, play it as if it was just fine. Yeah. So, yeah, that doesn't make any logical sense. But this whole idea that, in every circumstance, there's extreme positions and then the right position somewhere in the middle is kind of silly. Obviously, in some circumstances, it's absolutely correct because you have special interest on one side and special interest on the other side, and the reasonable policy will be somewhere in the middle because it's not a special interest. The right thing to do usually doesn't involve somebody's special interest. So obviously, in those cases where special interest is defining the fringe, that circumstance would necessitate some other correct answer. But in this circumstance, you can't prove any special interest. And certainly the negative position doesn't have a special interest. There's no reward for drawing the conclusions that are negative. There's just none. I mean, you don't get off on knowing you're ugly or knowing you're fat and knowing you're stupid or knowing... These are negative things. There's no incentive to go there without some kind of cause. You sort of have to be forced into that mirror. Come on. And if you could rationally accept somebody telling you don't look fat in those pants, well, then you probably would. So right there's no perverted interest. There's just the facts that, damn, this is a problem and I can't just ignore it. It's in my face, the fat belly. I can, it's it's sitting there looking at me. And I've got to have the guts to look back at it. So anyway, but it's just another one of these maneuvers, okay? It's just another gimmick of philosophy to play this middle-of-the-road card as if the middle of the road is anything else but the cop-out. I can't make a decision, so I'll cop out, and the cop-out, generally speaking, is going to be advocacy for one of the positions. It's like you're going to have to make a decision about whether there is or is not nuclear power in your country. You can't not decide. You're going to decide one way or the other. And there is no middle ground. So as soon as you say, I don't know, I can't think, I don't know, let's just let whatever happens, well then whatever happens is going to be there will be nuclear power plants. Because to stop it requires the initiative. So whatever side requires initiative to undo the current circumstance, the status quo, will require energy that as soon as you vacate from the decision process, you've already negated the possibility of that change because you're negating the possibility of your participation. And it would require your participation. That's what change requires. So it is a position. So when he advocates for his nihilism or his his non-them and non-them, that position is them. It's completely on them side. He's just voted for delusionary ignorance, pretending everything's going to be all right when it's not. He's just voted for it. So he can't pretend he's not choosing sides. He's choosing sides. And he's choosing the side of ignorant delusion. Yeah. Run time anyway. So I'll probably play his video just to be fair to it. I did just paraphrase his position, but I think I can illustrate how this is his position by playing his video. So I'll do that. And we'll call this a video. And maybe I'll post this. It is Saturday morning. I mean, Saturday creeped up on me again, so I'm not ready for debate night. So if you have something relevant you'd like me to discuss tonight, if I'm alive or still well, then put it in the comments. Maybe that'll be helpful. Or maybe show up and make your point. Or maybe, I don't know, have a bowl of cereal. You decide. Anyway, till next time. Till the video that follows this one. Yeah, till I continue from a different location. Anyway, lots of water everywhere. I gotta work in the mud today. Anyway, yeah, that's enough. So anyway, till next time. Alright, part 2, I guess, of the Antikontovag response video. So I'll play this video in a moment, but, you know, well, anyway, you know, just a couple of these things are sort of irritating. So Antikontovag quotes the Joker. You know the thing about chaos, Harvey? It's fair. So that's kind of a joke, isn't it? I mean, it's a joke that the Joker joke, but I mean, it just isn't really the truth. It's fairly abusive. I mean, it abuses fairly, okay, indiscriminately. So yeah, but it's abusive. You're just not getting it, okay? I mean, it has built into it unfairness, chaos. Chaos doesn't do things fairly, but it doesn't do things fairly in a fair manner, right? So that doesn't really make any sense, does it? All you need is a little bit of unfairness somewhere. All you need is unfairness in one part of the equation, and the whole equation is unfair. So that just doesn't work at all for me. So I read this blob of stuff here, just a kind of a whine about the human condition, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, that there's plenty to be concerned about in terms of the efficacy of the experiment. It's an experiment. It's a conducted process that's been initiated for no good reason, and it's playing out. And it's worth recognizing that it's got some fucking, it's leaking some oil. And the question is, to be answered is it enough oil? I mean, is it too much oil that it's leaking? And certainly I would argue that, oh, sure is.
I've been talking a lot about existential panic lately, and there's a reason for this. I think that one of the problems that I have with religion, that a lot of people have with religion, is this sense of blind optimism that seems to hold that no matter what, the world is a good place and that God is good and the rose-colored glasses are justified, etc.
All right. Well, I'm going to argue that you're defaulting to the same thing. You're just putting a different reason for the default to the same. Ignore the truth. Just play the game.
When you actually look at the issue of existential panic, it seems to be sort of the opposite of that, the mirror image, rather, or the flip side of the coin. Equally unrealistic and unreasonable.
Right, so it's equally unreasonable to recognize that something just isn't right. So glorifying something and being uneasy are equally silly. I mean, this is just so, again, I don't, how do you defend this mush? We know what religion is. It has a whole sack of primitive, stupid superstition that turned into, that they iconized into a philosophy, a declaration of the truth. And that's all it is. It's just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo invented by ignorant people. We know what that is. We know what the source of that delusion is. It doesn't have any legitimacy whatsoever. It's just been traditionally held on to like as if it was a square wheel. And people were so addicted to the square wheel, they just couldn't bring themselves to cut those corners off.
Even intelligent people like Peter Zopfe in The Last Messiah, who writes quite poetically about the issue of existential panic seems to indicate that it is insurmountable. That the best thing that we can do to cope with or to deal with the issue of existential horror is to succumb to it, or to learn to live with it.
Well, those are two different things, so I guess, I don't know, maybe the guy's just so full of shit, right? I mean, what is that? Again, so this doesn't make any, you're not offering anything here. I mean, he says it's fatal, it's doom, it's, well, and then he also says that maybe you can just live with it and it'd be okay, and just paint a smiley face on your face, and like the Joker, and just pretend to be happy. Come on.
I don't know. I can't see the world in that sort of polarized manner. I can't see reality that way.
Yeah, well, whatever. You don't choose to. Okay, you can't. What? You can't make a decision. You can't ever declare anything a duck. A duck is never a duck. You can never be sure it's a duck. No matter how much evidence you have, it has little webbed feet and little short legs and this little beaky thing and quack, quack, quack. You can do all that shit and you're still going to sit there and argue, well, I just can't commit. That's all you're saying. I don't want to commit to it. I don't, you know. So the default becomes nothing gets labeled, nothing gets done, nothing gets declared. Everybody just cops out. Fuck that.
Existence is fundamentally good or existence is fundamentally bad.
Well, look, it's either running a profit or it's running a deficit. These are fundamental concepts. They're in every part of your life. You know, you don't put the money in the vending machine if it's got like cat poo, little packages of cat poo. And you say, oh shit, my cat makes a ton of that. I'm not going to put 50 cents in the machine so I get a bag of cat poo. I don't need any of that. I mean, this is just the truth of the economics, and you want to just pretend that, oh, well, I can't, it isn't, whatever, oh, evidence, no, I can't, no. Bullshit. Shit or get off the pot, or jump off a fucking pier. But this is just bullshit. I can't figure it out.
I think that we have to sort of come to terms with the fact that both points of view are heavily laden with bias.
Again, so where would the negative bias come from? So somebody's just born with a fucking, pointy stick up their ass and they just say, I'm just going to look for shit to complain about. It doesn't come to them. Grandma doesn't die. Grandpa doesn't get hit by a bus. Mama doesn't get whatever, skanky cuntitis. I mean, fuck you. This is just this bullshit. You learn that life is, hey, this is messy. This is gnarly. Crap is happening, and I don't like it.
And we have to reject both points of view that sort of say that...
No, we don't have to. You will proselytize a fucking fatalistic, feudalistic, immature, ignorant philosophy, declaring yourselves, oh, we're too pure and we're too spiritual to deal with this mundane idea of whether the road should go this way or the road should go that way. We don't want to take responsibility. We don't want to commit to anything. We don't want to make a judgment, and we especially don't want to make it when it looks like the rational thing to do is to put the cat poo machine in my backyard. If the rational thing to do means I have to take responsibility for something, I have to control my behavior, well, yeah, then I really don't want to hear anything from you people. Yeah, mail me. You don't call me, I'll call you. Reality, because you don't want to deal with it as soon as it sits there and points its finger at you and says you suck.
You're in a state of, I guess, optimistic bliss or existential horror. You're seeing things for what they actually are.
So again, you're just going to make up these categories in the first place, and then you're going to sit there and somehow just declare out of nothing, out of nowhere, I say the guy in the middle. Yeah, the one who doesn't do anything, the dead guy. Let's go with him. Zombie. Yeah, neither living nor dead. Let's go with zombie human. No, let's not.
That's the implication in Zaphi's The Last Messiah, is that the caveman who comes out and suddenly realizes that he's encased in this corpse of flesh, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. He's encased in a body and subject to this reality. Zaphi seems to indicate that what he's seeing is the fundamental reality of the situation. Whereas the caveman in that scenario could just as easily have had a sudden sense of the beatific...
Yeah, well, whatever. So see again. So you're just going to say all philosophies are alike. All evidence is the same. So the evidence you made up, the evidence you saw, like, I don't know, when the doctor showed you a picture of your anal warts and you saw Jesus in there, whatever. You just make up this shit and it's all equal. And I call bullshit. I call shenanigans. Okay, there's a difference between the credibility of evidence and if you have any respect for logic and physical evidence and the effort that humankind has made over thousands of years to try to find the truth, if you have any respect for any of that shit, you're not going to pull this crap and say he could have just as easily made up some kind of silly fable about how the god of, the lizard god, pissed on him and gave him superpowers.
Beatific vision of the fundamental unity and beautifulness of everything, and how there's absolutely nothing to worry about and everything will take care of itself, and the universe is a fundamentally benign place. Either one of them, I think, is unreasonable, and I think...
Yeah, well, again, and I think you're being unreasonable. I think you're being disgusting. I think this is disgusting perversion of reason. We can tell the difference. Evolution, the theory of evolution, is not the same as the theory of Adam and Eve.
It's unreasonable to sort of just take sides and say that, one of these is right and one of these is wrong, when there are apparently logical and reasonable...
No, you just made that shit up. There are apparently logical and reasonable... No, there aren't. These aren't logical or reasonable arguments to be made here. You're rejecting the truth because you slandered the truth. You said it's no better than the God theory. You're basically saying that the theory of evolution is no better than a fucking pile of theology and dogma. And because the implications of evolution, of material evolution in the universe, is that there is the dilemma for the human race, that it is nothing but a creator of need, not a resolver of need. These are real dilemmas, and they become really obvious if you pay any attention whatever to the facts. If you have any respect for the fucking facts.
Proofs that each of them is right in its own way.
Yeah, whatever. There's no... Again, he just basically said the proof of evolution is just as credible as the proof of God. That these two things have the same... The value of the truth, the value of the evidence is identical. And that's just preposterous crap.
But I do say that being in love with the world or being horrified by it are both equally biased, and... Well, we know.
Yeah, well, the point isn't that you're horrified for no reason, okay? You're horrified because your basic defense mechanisms that point out good and bad, which is suffering and feeling good, and the extended capacity to view, to feel someone else's pain, to experience, to understand, to imagine being somebody else. That simple process of imagining enables you to understand the simple economics, that if somebody's going to get run over by a steamroller, it's not a good thing. It's not a matter of being hysterical about it. It's not a matter of over-emotional, but it's a recognition of it. It's going to be an emotional experience. If something you value is going to be harmed, it's going to be an emotional experience. You can't help that it's an emotional experience. To call that a bias is bullshit.
What bias does to your ability to reason correctly.
Yeah, and reason correctly by his definition, by this sadistic motherfucking crazy fuck's definition is, suffering doesn't matter. The Holocaust never happened because it's in the past. He's going to constantly make arguments attempting to unravel every negative aspect to existence. He's not just a fundamentalist religious kook with rainbow vision. Okay, he's not one who's saying, "Oh, I'm not the extremist." He's the ultra extremist. Okay, he is the neo phantasmagorical. And that's the joke here. He's the ultra fundamentalist because he has broken all connection to reality and negated all value equations. And that's just bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. yeah. I call bullshit from the evidence of my own personal experience. I'm better off without a nail in my eye. And that's the truth. And it's probably true for every other sentient thing on Earth right now. You son of a bitch. And such. Enough of you.